Well, hello there. Sorry, I was a little distracted chatting with my friends, getting them ready to help out and, keep me company while we do Crucible Cast number 20. So we're back again to, talk about KeyForge and let you guys know kind of what's going on with us and hopefully keep you guys as involved as we possibly can. So this morning, we are going to talk about a few different things. We're going to start off like we always do with our KeyForge news. We're going to go to our OP news, and then our main event is also going to cover some questions and answers. So our main event will cover the last two pieces. You can find those links to those timestamps in the description below, but from a previous video, I think I'm supposed to call it the doobly-doo. So yeah, in the doobly-doo below. So as you can see, I've got a couple friends with me. These are, camera makes me look backwards, Horn and Mila. Finger, there, Mila. So these are my kids' fuzzy Gruins, and they're keeping me company because, well, quarantine Josh is losing it a little bit. So Horn and Mila are going to be helping me out by introducing our topics. And just so you're aware, Mila. Yeah, Mila's the one. She was mavericked into shadows, so understanding them both might be a little bit difficult, but we'll give it a shot and hopefully, we can clear it up if there's any translation issues. So I'm going to look at my notes while Horn goes and introduces our next segment.
Hi, my name is Horn, and I'm going to have Josh tell you about the KeyForge news and updates.
Oh, well, thank you, Horn. So as Horn said, I'm going to be telling you about a few updates, KeyForge news really. As you know, there hasn't been a whole lot lately, but we did just launch a new set in certain markets, so I'm sure everybody is seeing a bunch of the new exciting cards that have been revealed and released and following everything on the Master Vault app. So yeah, very excited for that, very excited for it to launch in the rest of the world as well. So we're looking very, very forward to that. And yeah, that's really all we have for just generic KeyForge news at this time. So we'll move on to the next section, introduced by Mila.
Hi, my name's Mila, and I'm going to introduce the OP news. Just a few topics, but I think that we'll have a couple fun things to talk about today.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Mila. Oh, and I like your bow, by the way. It's really nice. My daughter likes the bow. So yeah, as Mila said, we're talking about the OP news. There's not a whole lot, again, as you're still aware, we are not doing any new OP right now. Until September, we're, sticking with that. We're continuing to watch the situation, as I said in the last cast, and we will update you as soon as we have more information. But for the time being, just know that we're not going to be running any OP in stores in any markets, at least currently, until September. But we'll get, I'm sure there will be some updates and some news. We will get those to you as soon as humanly possible, and then we'll definitely talk about it on the cast and why we made the decisions that we made if we do change things up. And the other thing that I want to talk to about OP is make sure that you're following OP Plays on Twitter. We are updating as close to daily as possible and trying to involve the community in making decisions for you, the players, to beat us as OP in a game of KeyForge. So make sure you follow that OP Plays and see what's up every day. And outside of that, I do want you to know that we are using some of this time that we've been down and haven't been able to do OP in stores to look at OP in general and what OP looks like and how we keep people involved if, like right now, if there is no access to stores. So also keep watching for updates on that. We're coming up with some really cool, some pretty crazy concepts and ideas that we're really hoping that we can start introducing sooner rather than later so that you guys and us can, continue to be connected so we can keep working together and keep playing KeyForge as a community. So that's really all that I have for that. I will introduce the next segment just so that there aren't any translation issues. But yeah, we are going to be talking to one of the developers here, and they are going to be covering some of the FAQ stuff for the new set and just some new information and a couple of questions that have been asked. They're going to answer those and give you guys some much needed updates as to how and when different things take place in the game of KeyForge. So thanks for joining, and I will pass it to them. Bye.
So today, first, we're going to look at Tendrils of Pain, which we talked about on a previous Crucible Cast, and I ruled that you resolve the card one sentence at a time. So first you deal 1 damage, then wards can be removed, then you deal 3 additional damage that can actually get through the wards. And there was a bit of backlash from the community on this. There was some confusion that this might break cards like Positron Bolt, or They're Everywhere, that also deal multiple instances of damage. And we've ruled in the past previously with those kind of cards that all that damage is dealt simultaneously. So there's some kind of confusion. What's the difference between the two? So we've revisited the matter and talked about it a lot, and in response we're adding a new section to the rulebook with the release of Mass Mutations that will go into more detail about the timing of these card abilities. So under these new guidelines, these new rules, you should resolve the text of the card in the order that it's written, not necessarily sentence by sentence, just in the order first to last, with 2 exceptions. One being replacement effects, which necessarily override something that would have happened earlier in the card. And the second being when a card does damage in multiple instances, and in that case, do the damage all simultaneously. So this is actually more in line with the way that judges and expert players have already been resolving card effects, and we're just kind of affirming that and making it more explicit so that we're all on the same page. So along that same line, we'll also be issuing an errata to Tendrils of Pain with this new update and rephrasing it as a replacement effect. So Tendrils of Pain now will read, play, deal 1 damage to each creature, deal 4 damage to each creature instead if your opponent forged a key on their previous turn. So that will take effect when the rules drop for the worldwide release of Mass Mutations, and that should make it clearer and more in line with the way that we want cards to be resolved moving forward. So next, we're going to look at some questions that we've gotten so far from the people that have gotten a chance to play Mass Mutations, and sort of go over some of these finer points of how bonus icons work. So the first question is, if I play a Maleficorn that also has a damage icon on it, does its damage icon deal a bonus damage? And the answer is yes. Creatures are already in play before you triggered their bonus icons. So in this case, Maleficorn's constant ability is already online, and you get to deal the extra damage. The second question is regarding Radpenny. If I play a Radpenny with a damage icon on it while no other creatures are in play, will that damage destroy Radpenny before her play effect lets me steal the 1 amber? The answer is yes. So you put her into play, you resolve the 1 damage icon, there's no other creatures in play, she has to deal it to herself, that destroys her, and then she's removed from play before her play effect can trigger. So the last question we're going to look at, similar scenario. If I play a Radpenny with a damage icon and a draw icon on it while no other creatures are in play, will the damage destroy Radpenny before I can resolve her draw icon? So since you do the icons from top to bottom, the damage happens before the draw. Theoretically, she could be destroyed and leave play before you get to draw. But actually, her draw icon will still resolve, because once a card has been played, all its bonus icons on the card will resolve, even if the card leaves play. So once you start doing them, just do all of them. All right, so that's all the rules we have for this episode. I'll ship it back. Thanks.
Hi everybody, Danny here, with Mass Mutation coming out soon for KeyForge. I thought it'd be fun to go through and share some of my favorite cards from the set. I've picked out 1 card from each house that I just think is cool, or I feel like I want to talk about a little bit. So let's get into it, starting with the Pale Star from House Dis. The Pale Star is an artifact with the Omni effect that lets you destroy it, And then for the rest of the turn, each creature is considered to have 1 power and 0 armor. This is a pretty splashy, cool effect, like we like to see on rare artifacts pretty often. There's a lot of cool ways to make it work in Dis in this set. If you have a bunch of little imps with destroyed effects and you're facing down a big board of Saurians or whatnot, you can attack with your imps, get a couple damage on each enemy creature, and then fire off the Pale Star to finish off all those giant guys that you couldn't have dealt with otherwise. There are a lot of other cool combos too. Just anything that deals damage to enemy creatures can pretty quickly turn into like a massive board wipe with the Pale Star in play. I think this card probably gets the award for the most broken card during Mass Mutation playtesting, because originally you did not have to destroy the artifact to get the effect. It was just a repeatable action. You could do it every turn if you wanted to. And we pretty quickly realized that that was a recipe for your opponent never getting to keep creatures in play for more than a turn or two at a time. So we scaled that back to something that's still really powerful, really cool, but not quite as oppressive. Next up, let's head over to House Logos with Q-Mechs. These are a 1-power creature with play, draw a card, and destroyed archive Q-Mechs. These are like the little robots that Quixo the Adventurer sends in to do his, his dark bidding, I guess. And they're a really fun card. Obviously, you get to draw a card when you play them. If they ever leave play, you just go to your archives, back to your hand, play them again, draw more cards. Super Logos, totally what any Logos deck wants to be doing. But in this set, they're especially cool because of all the bonus icons floating around from Enhance. So for instance, in playtesting, I had a deck where a Q-Mech got enhanced, I think, with 2 damage icons and an extra amber icon. So it's a creature where you play it, deal 2 damage, gain an amber, draw a card, and then as soon as it gets destroyed, you just archive it and you can do it all over again. Let me tell you, that's a pretty fun thing to do several times throughout a game. Next up, we have a Sanctum card, Orb of Wonder. It's a rare artifact that has Omni, destroy Orb of Wonder. If you do, search your deck for a card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So obviously this is a super powerful, super useful card. At its base level, it can just grab whatever the best card in your deck is, bring it out. You effectively get 2 copies of your best card if you want. But you can also sort of use it as a toolbox card where you can find whatever you need in a given situation, which is really cool. You need a board wipe, go grab it. You need amber control, go grab it. It's just a super useful card. What I really think is cool about Orb of Wonder, though, is that this is not actually the first time we've seen it. It was originally an Anomaly card in Worlds Collide, which obviously anomalies were those 10 cards that would sometimes show up in decks as a preview of possible future sets, things that might be coming down the pipeline years from now in KeyForge. And Orb of Wonder is actually the first anomaly to show up as a regular card in the set. As you can see, its flavor text even is from Mad Prophet Gazelleheart, who's a major character in Mass Mutation. So it's kind of exciting for me to get an anomaly into a set and sort of show that, yes, those anomaly cards are cool and powerful and crazy, but they are also cards that we really are going to try to get into sets in the future. And I can actually say that right now we have a couple of other sets in development that currently have anomalies in them as well. So you'll be seeing more of those down the road for sure. And I think it's going to be super cool. Next up we go to Saurian with Neurotaurus. This is just, I don't know, it's just one of those fun one-off rare creatures that really sort of changes how the game plays once it comes down. It's a 6-power creature that has fight, enemy creatures cannot reap during your opponent's next turn. Reap, enemy creatures cannot fight during your opponent's next turn. So basically he's a trendsetter. Whatever he does, your enemy creatures have to do that during your opponent's next turn. This is, everything about this card just works so well for me. I love the ability. It's a different kind of control effect than what you usually see, but this sort of repeatable make your opponent reap, make your opponent fight type thing. The name is great. Props to Brad for coming up with a cool name that references ancient Rome and works in obviously the dinosaur reference as well. And the art is just so fantastic. So all of that combines to make this one of my favorite rares in the set. Then we go to Opportunist from House Shadows. This is an upgrade that gives the creature elusive, and when you play it, the creature captures 1 amber. This is just a solid basic upgrade. What I really love about it is just the art here from David Keane. I don't know why Shadows keeps messing with the microputions like that, but come on, leave them alone. They're so cute and so little. Just give them a break. Come on, Shadows. Next up is Exchange Officer. This is, I think, probably the coolest card that we've ever done from a technical standpoint, and shout out to the entire tech team on KeyForge for getting this card into the set, because it's super cool. It's a creature, it's got Play, Fight, Reap, use a friendly Star Alliance card, which you may be saying that's a weird effect to put on a Star Alliance card. But the reason is that this card will never actually show up in a deck in House Star Alliance. Its gimmick is that it's always going to be a Maverick. So if you have this in your deck, it'll show up, maybe in Untamed, maybe in Dis, maybe in Logos, but never in Star Alliance. And what it'll do actually is, in addition to itself being a Maverick, it's going to swap houses with another card in your deck. So you'll have an Exchange Officer in Logos, and then you'll have a Logos card showing up as a Maverick in Star Alliance, which is just, you get some of the coolest decks when you have Exchange Officers involved. And then obviously its ability works with the card it Mavericked in, and also just works with Star Alliance in general. So yeah, I'm so excited for this card. It's, again, as I was saying, one of the coolest cards that we've ever done as far as utilizing the deck building algorithm in a new way. And then finally we go to Untamed and Chonkers. Chonkers is a mutant creature. It's got Skirmish. After an enemy is destroyed fighting Chonkers, you get to double the number of +1 power counters it has, and it enters play with 1+1 power counter. This card, it's one of the rare cards that was pretty much completely unchanged from design through all of playtesting to printing, with one exception that I'm gonna talk about here in a second. But yeah, I basically came up with this card in one of the early design sessions for Mass Mutation, and wrote down the ability almost verbatim as it appears on the final card. The one difference is that in playtesting, this card had a different title. It was named something like Hardcore and Intense, like Insatiable Abomination, I think. A long, really like serious, intense name. And we playtested it like that, and it was super popular. It's super fun. What I love about this card is that it gives you sort of like a side quest to try to complete in your game. Like, obviously you're trying to win, trying to collect Amber and Forge keys, but you're also kind of trying to just like get the biggest chonkers possible. And, even if you don't win, if you got like a 30 power chonkers, it feels like you did something cool in the game, right? And especially in this set where there are some really good enablers, like there are action cards that can just drop three power counters directly onto a creature, so you can really jumpstart your ability to get the ball rolling there. So again, it was super fun, super popular all throughout playtesting. And then we got to the very end of development, where we're actually putting the cards into their finalized graphic design and art and text and everything. And we realized that the ability didn't fit in the text box. Like, it was 2 lines too long to fit. And we're like, oh no, like, this is one of the coolest cards. We don't want to change it. But it just doesn't fit at all. And there's no real, like, a lot of times you have a situation like that and you can find a little edit, a little tweak to make the card fit. But this one, it's like, well, you got to have the doubling ability. That's what makes the card. And you got to start with a +1 power counter, or the doubling ability doesn't work. And skirmish, maybe you could cut, but it makes the card a lot harder to use, and it wouldn't even save us that much space anyway. So we're just like trying to figure out how to keep this awesome card. And I'm looking at the text box, and I'm like, this card says its own name 3 separate times in its ability, and its name is really long. If we just gave it like a much shorter name, it could totally fit, like no problem. It'd save us multiple lines of text. And so Brad, in his infinite genius, was like, oh yeah, just call it Chonkers. And everybody laughed for about 30 seconds, and then we put it in, and it fit easily, and the rest is history. So yeah, that's Chonkers. That's 7 of my favorite cards from Mass Mutation. Keep your eyes peeled. If Mass Mutation is not yet out in your market, it will be in the not too distant future. And as you can tell, I'm super excited for it. I think you guys are all going to love it too. So thank you.